Aiden's world had always revolved around logic. As a scientist aboard the remote research station Vanguard, his mind was accustomed to facts and figures, calculations and experiments. He was an expert in alien biology, especially the alien races that visited the station for medical purposes, but that all changed in an instant. It was a typical day at the station. The hum of machinery echoed in the corridors as Aiden walked briskly towards the medical bay. He had just returned from a research mission, his arm aching from a scrape he had gotten during an unexpected encounter with a strange alien creature. It hadn't been a serious injury, but enough to warrant medical attention. The metallic doors slid open with a soft hiss, and Aiden stepped inside. The medical bay was a quiet place, with sleek, futuristic equipment lining the walls. In the far corner, an alien nurse was busy preparing a set of tools. She was one of the Zalthari, a species renowned for their medical skills. They were tall and slender, their skin a deep shade of violet, with black markings running down their arms. Their eyes were large, glowing faintly, and their movements were graceful and efficient. Aiden had worked with Zalthari before, but this was his first time being treated by one. The nurse, Lara, looked up as Aiden approached. Her gaze lingered on him for a moment, her expression calm but unreadable.
"Aiden, I've been expecting you," she said in a soft, melodic voice. Aiden nodded, his eyes scanning the room as he approached the examination table.
"It's just a scratch," he said, trying to downplay the injury. "Shouldn't be anything too serious. Let me take a look." Lara replied, her tone professional. She moved with the precision of someone who had done this 1,000 times. She guided him onto the table and carefully examined the wound. Aiden winced as she cleaned the scrape, but her touch was gentle, almost soothing.
"You're lucky," she said after a moment. "It's not deep. It just—"
"But you'll need a shot to speed up the healing process. We Zalthari have a unique biotechnology that works wonders on human cells."
"It should be just what you need." Aiden raised an eyebrow.
He had heard of the Zalthari's advanced medical techniques, but he had always been a little skeptical about the use of alien technology on humans. Shot, huh?" he said. "What exactly does it do?" Lara gave a faint smile. "It stimulates the healing process. In some cases, it can even accelerate the growth of new tissue, helping you recover faster than usual. It's perfectly safe. I've given it to humans many times before." Aiden hesitated for a moment, but then nodded. "All right, I trust you." He rolled up his sleeve, exposing the arm with the injury. Lara moved to the counter, where a sleek injector sat. She picked it up with practiced hands and approached him. The injection itself was tiny, almost unnoticeable. Aiden didn't even feel the needle enter his skin. But as soon as it did, a strange sensation washed over him, starting from the site of the injection and spreading throughout his entire body. It was as if a current of electricity had jolted through his veins. His heart rate quickened, and his breath caught in his chest. The world around him seemed to blur, the edges of his vision growing fuzzy as a strange warmth spread through him. His head spun, and he felt as though he was being pulled into a deep, endless void. Aiden tried to speak, but his voice came out as a mere whisper. "What? What did you do?" His words felt distant, as if they were coming from someone else. Lara's face remained calm, though a flicker of concern crossed her eyes. "It's normal," she assured him. "The shot activates a dormant biological response. It'll take a few moments for your body to adjust." But Aiden wasn't listening anymore. The world around him was spinning faster now, and his body felt as though it was being stretched and twisted in ways he couldn't comprehend. His limbs seemed to tingle, and the sensation of energy coursing through him only intensified. He could hear his own heartbeat in his ears, thudding loudly, faster than ever before. His mind raced, a flood of thoughts and images bombarding him all at once. He saw flashes of alien worlds, distant stars, and strange, unknown creatures. His thoughts collided with fragments of memories that weren't his own. It was as if he was tapping into the collective consciousness of the galaxy itself. And then, just as quickly as it had begun, the sensation stopped. Aiden blinked, trying to clear his mind. His vision sharpened, and the dizziness subsided. But something was different. His body felt powerful, almost unnaturally so. Lara was standing over him, her gaze intense. "Are you all right?" she asked, her voice laced with a hint of worry. Aiden took a deep breath, feeling the strange energy still pulsing through his veins.
I think so.
But something's wrong. I feel... He trailed off, searching for the right word. I feel different. Like I'm not just me anymore. Lara nodded slowly, her expression unreadable.
It's the shot. It has unlocked something in your DNA.
Your body has reacted in ways we didn't anticipate. You have access to abilities that were previously dormant. Aiden's eyes widened. What do you mean, abilities? She hesitated before answering. Your physiology is now more advanced than any humans. You're stronger, faster, and your senses are heightened. But there's more. Something much deeper inside of you. Something dangerous. Aiden tried to process what she was saying. His mind was racing, his thoughts fragmented and scattered. Dangerous? He repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. Lara nodded.
Yes.
The Zalthari have developed a technology that can tap into the genetic potential of other species. It's meant to enhance their physical and mental abilities. But in some cases, like yours, it has the potential to unlock powers that are far beyond what we intended. Powers that, if uncontrolled, could be catastrophic. Aiden's heart skipped a beat as the weight of her words sank in. His body felt too powerful, too unstable. He could feel it inside him, a wild, untamed force threatening to break free. Lara stepped back, her eyes narrowing slightly as if assessing him.
You need to be careful. We can't predict what will happen next, and we don't fully understand the extent of the changes in your body.
But we have to make sure you don't lose control. Aiden sat up slowly, feeling a strange surge of energy in his muscles. He flexed his hand, watching as his fingers twitched with unnatural speed. His heart raced again, and for a moment, he could hear everything. The faint hum of the station's engines, the soft whispers of other crew members in distant parts of the station. It was all there, like a symphony of sounds in his mind.
What's happening to me? He whispered, his voice filled with awe and fear. Lara didn't answer immediately.
She simply watched him, her violet eyes flickering with a mix of concern and something else, something more calculating. I don't know, she said finally, but you're not the only one who's been affected. And we need to figure out how to control this before it's too late. Aiden nodded, his thoughts still swirling. He had always prided himself on being logical, on relying on science and reason, but now, faced with these strange abilities, he realized that he was in uncharted territory. The shot had unlocked something inside him, something dangerous, and he didn't know if he could control it. Aiden couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed inside him. The shot, which had been administered so casually, had unlocked a power he didn't understand. The sensation of energy still hummed through his body, like an invisible current running beneath his skin. It was as if his very cells were vibrating with newfound potential, but with that potential came an undercurrent of danger, something he couldn't quite control. After Lara had left him in the medical bay, Aiden sat there for what felt like hours, trying to process everything that had happened. His mind raced as he tried to make sense of the strange abilities coursing through him. At first, everything seemed normal. His injury had healed faster than expected, the wound almost gone by the time he had gotten up from the bed. But as he walked down the corridors of the station, it became clear that something was wrong. He could feel the eyes of others on him, even when they weren't looking directly at him. He could hear the faintest whispers of conversations from rooms several halls away, as if the words were echoing directly into his mind. He felt like he was seeing everything all at once, his vision sharper than it had ever been. The smallest details, the flicker of a light in the distance, the rustle of a paper from the room next door, were now impossible to ignore. But it wasn't just his senses that had changed. He felt stronger, faster, his muscles rippling with an energy he couldn't contain. It was as if he had been given the strength of 10 men, but it wasn't a gift he knew how to use. His movements were more fluid, quicker, and every step he took felt like he could sprint the length of the station without breaking a sweat. But there was an unsettling side to it all. Every now and then, Aiden would catch a glimpse of something in the corner of his eye, a shadow that shouldn't have been there, or a flicker of movement that he couldn't explain. His mind was beginning to feel overloaded, and he knew that if he wasn't careful, he might lose himself to the power inside him. He found himself outside Laura's office, his heart pounding in his chest. He needed answers, but he wasn't sure what to expect from her. She had been calm, composed, but there had been something hidden in her eyes when she told him he was dangerous. The fear in her voice, despite her attempts to mask it, had not gone unnoticed. Taking a deep breath, Aiden knocked on the door. The sound was sharp, echoing down the hallway. It took a moment before Laura's voice called out from inside. "Come in!" Aiden stepped inside the room, his eyes immediately locking onto her. She was sitting at her desk, her back straight, her hands folded neatly in front of her. Despite her alien appearance, there was something oddly comforting about her presence. She didn't seem as frightened as he felt, but he could tell she was concerned. She had seen this before, and that worried him more than anything.
Aiden?
Laura said, her voice soft but firm.
How are you feeling? Aiden hesitated for a moment, trying to find the right words. Different, he said simply.
Like, I can't control it. Everything feels too sharp, too much. My senses, my strength. It's all too much. Laura's eyes softened, and she motioned for him to sit across from her. I understand, she said quietly. I've been monitoring your condition since the injection, and I can see the changes in you.
You're not the first human we've experimented on, but your reaction, it's unique.
Experimented on? Aiden's voice cracked as the words registered in his mind. What do you mean, experimented on? Lara looked away for a moment, as if choosing her words carefully.
The Zalthari have studied human biology for years. We've been working on a project to enhance human potential, to unlock abilities that we believe are hidden within your species.
Your physiology is special. We thought we had the technology to control these changes, but your reaction is unlike anything we've seen before.
Aiden felt a cold chill run down his spine. So, I'm a test subject? He asked, his voice low. You gave me that shot without fully knowing what would happen?
Lara's expression hardened, though her eyes remained filled with sympathy. We knew it could unlock certain abilities, but we didn't anticipate the level of power that has emerged inside you. We hoped the reaction would be mild, a simple enhancement to your strength and healing. Instead, you've gained access to something much more dangerous. Your mind is beginning to absorb knowledge, energy. It's too much for a human to control without proper guidance. Aiden clenched his fists, the surge of power making his muscles tense. This wasn't what I signed up for, he muttered. You can't just inject me with alien technology and expect everything to be fine. Lara sighed, standing up and walking over to the window. She looked out at the stars, her gaze distant. I know this wasn't your choice, she said, quietly. But you're the first human to be exposed to this level of enhancement. The potential for what you could become. It's unprecedented. Aiden's mind spun. He was supposed to be a scientist, someone who studied these alien species, not someone being experimented on. But now, as he stood there, feeling the alien power flowing through his veins,
He couldn't help but wonder if there was something inside him that was more than human. Maybe it was this power that had always been dormant in his species, just waiting to be unlocked.
How do I control it? He asked, his voice urgent.
How do I make sure this doesn't get out of hand? Lara turned to face him, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and resolve.
You have to learn to control your emotions, she said.
The power inside you is tied to your mental state.
If you lose focus, if you let your emotions overwhelm you, it could trigger an uncontrollable surge of energy. I've seen it happen before, and it's devastating.
Aiden nodded, though the idea of controlling something so powerful seemed impossible. So you're saying I have to be calm all the time? Not calm, Lara replied, but centered, focused. You need to learn to channel the energy, to use it when necessary and suppress it when it's not.
The problem is, we don't know how to teach you this control yet. We have theories, but they haven't been tested on humans. Aiden's mind raced. He couldn't just sit back and wait for the Zalthari to figure out how to control him. The power inside him felt alive, restless, and it was only a matter of time before it spiraled out of control.
So, what now? He asked, his voice tinged with frustration. We train, Lara said firmly. I'll help you. I'll teach you how to manage the power inside you, and we'll take it one step at a time. But I need you to trust me, Aiden. I can't do this alone. Aiden met her gaze, feeling the weight of her words.
He didn't know if he could trust her completely, but he had no choice. The power inside him was too dangerous to ignore, and he needed control. Fast.
All right, he said, his voice steady. Let's do this.
Over the next few days, Aiden and Lara worked together to understand the extent of his newfound abilities. It was an exhausting process, one that pushed Aiden to his limits. Each time he thought he had a handle on the power, it would slip from his grasp and surge uncontrollably. Objects in the room would shake, walls would crack, and Aiden would be left standing, panting and frustrated, unable to stop the chaos that seemed to follow him wherever he went. But through it all, Lara remained calm, her presence a constant anchor in the storm. She guided him through meditation and focus exercises, helping him center his mind and control the energy that surged within him. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when Aiden wanted to give up, but Lara never wavered. She believed in him, even when he didn't believe in himself. As the days passed, Aiden began to feel more in control. He could suppress the surge of energy long enough to focus, and he could use his newfound strength without destroying everything around him. But despite his progress, there was still a sense of unease that lingered in the back of his mind. Something was wrong. There was more to this power than either he or Lara understood, and he could feel it deep within him. Something darker, more dangerous, waiting to be unleashed. Aiden woke up with a start, his heart racing. He had been having the same dream again, the one where strange voices whispered in the back of his mind. They weren't words exactly, but feelings, deep, alien, and unrecognizable. The dream left him with a strange sense of unease that lingered long after he opened his eyes. He sat up in his bed and rubbed his face, trying to shake off the last remnants of the dream. The medical bay was quiet, with only the low hum of the station's machinery in the background. For a moment, everything seemed normal. But that feeling, the sensation of something just out of reach, clung to him like a shadow. It had been days since the injection. Aiden had spent the last few days with Lara, trying to control the power that had awakened within him. They had worked together on exercises to help him focus, using mental techniques to suppress the energy that surged inside him. It was hard work, and every day felt like he was walking a fine line, balancing between control and chaos. But there were moments, brief moments, when Aiden felt the power surge without warning. It wasn't physical strength or speed. It was something more, something mental. His thoughts could shape the world around him, and when he let his emotions slip, he could feel the raw power threatening to break free. That morning, he felt the familiar tingling in his fingertips. He could almost taste the energy, like static in the air. He knew it was there, just beneath the surface, waiting to be unleashed, but he didn't want to lose control. He couldn't afford to. Not after everything he'd learned in the last few days. Aiden stood up slowly, taking a deep breath. He had to keep his mind focused. There was still so much about the powers he didn't understand, and Lara had warned him that the longer he went without fully controlling them, the harder it would be to keep them in check. He left the room and headed down the corridor, his footsteps echoing softly in the stillness. The station felt emptier than usual. Crew members passed him by, but their faces were distant, distracted.
Aiden couldn't help but notice the strange looks he was getting.
He wasn't sure if it was the power inside him that made people uncomfortable, or if they had started to notice the subtle changes in him. He walked past the observation deck, where the stars outside seemed to shimmer, their distant light cold and unfeeling. Aiden felt a strange pull, a yearning to be out there, away from the station, away from everything. But he knew he couldn't leave. Not yet. He still had questions, and there were still things he needed to figure out. He turned down a hallway and found himself in front of Laura's office. He hesitated for a moment, then knocked gently. There was no answer at first, but he could feel her presence behind the door. He knew she was there, waiting. He knocked again, this time more firmly. The door slid open, and Lara appeared, her violet eyes locking onto his. She looked calm, but there was an edge to her expression that he hadn't seen before. Something had changed in her as well, something subtle. But there, Aiden could feel it. "Come in," Lara said, her voice soft but steady. Aiden stepped inside, feeling a strange tension in the air. Lara's office was small and sparse, filled with data pads and medical equipment, but there was a certain warmth to it. Aiden couldn't help but feel a little more at ease in this space. Even though he knew the truth, he wasn't the same person who had walked into the station just a few weeks ago. "How's it going?" Lara asked, her gaze flicking over him as she gestured for him to sit. Aiden sank into the chair across from her, trying to find the right words.
I don't know, he admitted. I've been trying to focus to keep the power under control, but
"It's like I can't escape it. It's always there, always just beneath the surface." Lara nodded, her eyes thoughtful.
I know. You've made progress, Aiden. You're learning to control it.
"But there's something we haven't talked about. Something I've been keeping from you." Aiden raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Lara hesitated, clearly struggling with how to say what was on her mind. Finally, she spoke, her voice low. "The Scifi have experimented with many different species, including humans. But there's something unique about you. Your genetic code is unlike anything we've seen before. I don't think it was just the injection that triggered the changes in you. It's something in your DNA. Something that's been dormant until now." Aiden frowned. "Are you saying this isn't just a side effect of the shot?" "That it's in my blood?" "Exactly," Lara said. "Your species has untapped potential, Aiden. The power inside you is not just an accident. It's something that's always been there, waiting for the right circumstances to awaken." Aiden's mind raced. "So, you're telling me that I'm some sort of, what? Superhuman? That this was always inside me, just waiting to be unlocked?"
Lara nodded slowly, in a way. But it's more complicated than that.
"We thought the injection would merely enhance your abilities, but it's doing something far deeper. It's tapping into the core of your biology, your very essence. And that's why we can't predict what will happen next. Your abilities are still evolving." Aiden was silent for a long moment, letting her words sink in. He felt a chill run down his spine. "So what now? What do I do with all of this?" "You've been helping me control it, but what happens when I can't anymore? When I lose control?" Lara's expression softened.
"That's why we have to work together. I'll keep helping you, teaching you how to focus.
But you need to be careful, Aiden. Your emotions, your state of mind, they're connected to the power inside you. If you let yourself get angry, scared, or overwhelmed, it could trigger something destructive. Aiden nodded slowly.
I get it, but I don't know how long I can keep this under control.
Every day, it feels like it's getting stronger. Like I'm getting stronger. Lara leaned forward, her voice low but firm. You need to understand that you're not just dealing with physical power. What's inside you, it's more than just strength. It's knowledge, ancient knowledge, stored in your mind. You've been exposed to it in flashes. I'm sure you've felt it. The voices, the visions.
They're not random. They're part of what's awakening inside you.
Aiden clenched his fists. I don't understand. What's in my mind? What's happening to me? Lara's eyes darkened. You're starting to see the fragments, the beginnings of something older than the Zalthari. Something from the deepest reaches of the galaxy. We don't fully understand it, but I've seen this before. In records, in ancient texts, you have access to knowledge that no human should have. And it's dangerous. If you can't control it, if you let it overwhelm you, it will consume you.
Aiden leaned back in his chair, his heart pounding in his chest. So what do we do now?
How do we stop this from taking over?
We train, Lara said firmly. You keep working with me. We'll strengthen your control, build your focus, and we'll find a way to limit the power's influence.
But, Aiden, there's something else we need to consider. There are others who are watching you.
They know what you've become. They won't stop until they have what you hold inside you.
Aiden's stomach sank. What are you talking about? Lara's expression hardened.
The Zalthari aren't the only ones interested in your abilities. There are factions in the galaxy who would do anything to harness the power you've unlocked. They'll come for you, Aiden. And if they do, we'll need to be ready. Aiden's mind was racing now. He had gone from a scientist studying alien life to a weapon, something others wanted to control. He had never asked for this, never wanted any of it. But now, it was a reality he couldn't escape. He stood up slowly, his fists clenched at his sides. Then we'll be ready. I won't let anyone control me. Lara nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corner of her lips. I knew I could count on you. As Aiden left the office, the weight of Lara's words settled on him. His journey had only just begun, and the road ahead was filled with uncertainty. He didn't know what the future held, but he was determined to take control of his own fate, no matter the cost.